Hey, I'm Duke on Twitch. If you want to support the channel and greensunzenith.com, you can find my Patreon, merch store, and singles store where you can buy singles through TCG Player or Card Hoarder in the video description. If you want to get in contact, you can also find all that info in the description below for things like donation deck lists or just wanting to reach out. Alright, let's get right into it. Hey team, welcome back to Dukes on Twitch. Back today with a very special co-host, Evan, playing some Yorion Death and Taxes. A huge thank you to you for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me. I'm really glad to be here. Glad to play my favorite deck in the world with you today.
Yeah, it's really good to see. I have found it pretty hard recently to find people playing D&T, especially in a format dominated by another white deck. So it's been really cool to see you sort of power through the format, trying new things, even trying some initiative cards itself. But today we have a pretty interesting take on D&T, which does look pretty similar to most lists, but the one card that kind of stands out is Ephemerate. What is kind of your logic behind the addition of Ephemerate in this deck?
Yeah, so to the surprise of probably no one, this is definitely inspired by the kind of like the advent of the initiative deck. And I think one thing I want to state from the beginning is that I think even a normal Death and Taxes list has a pretty good matchup against most initiative decks. It's like not great. The red splash is a little iffy because they have a lot more initiative creatures, but like the fact of the matter is the initiative promotes you for playing to the board and playing lots of removal, and that's a thing that D&T already does. Really, the only problem is the speed. They get to the board a lot faster than you do. And so I was thinking about ways to shore that up. One of the surprising things I found about the matchup is how valuable just Mother of Runes is as a 1/1 attacker sometimes to just like take the initiative right back. And I was thinking originally about what are more 1-drops that we could play. You know, some of the obvious ones might be like Giver of Runes. Then you start getting into some ones that are not so great, like Esper Sentinel, and then you start getting into like the really embarrassing ones I won't even talk about. But then I kind of landed on Ephemerate. I tried it out. It was something that friend of the stream, XJ Cloud, he had tried it in Death and Taxes lists earlier last year. The problem I had back then was kind of that it just made a lot of your good matchups better. Back then, D&T had a very solid matchup against basically every fair deck. The only thing that you were really struggling with was the whatever flavor of combo deck happened to be the most popular at the time. But now we have the initiative, a card or the deck that really gets to the board quickly. You really want to be able to keep up pace with them quickly because you still have a better long game as long as you can get to it. And on top of that, there's a lot of decks that are playing to the board as a response to the initiative, like we've seen an uptick in decks like Painter and Nettle Elves and things like that. And being able to do the tried and true modern play of ephemerating a Solitude has proven to be incredibly effective against all of those strategies. Yeah. It's just like a way to keep pace against the broken starts that D&T has historically had troubles with basically all the time. And yeah, I've been really impressed by it so far.
Yeah, especially go wide strategies. I feel like if Elves is moving to the builds that go under decks like Initiative, then they're going to be powering out a lot of creatures early on. So the Solitude and Ephemerate plan only gets better when there's already multiple creatures on board. Because I could see some players trying to play a little bit around the rebound effect, but it's pretty hard to play around it when you already have kind of flooded the board with a few early threats. So I think that this deck, especially right now, can really get the full value out of Ephemerate because either your opponent has a lot of things on board to interact with, or you just have a lot of targets in play that Ephemerate can hit and get value from.
Yeah, I've already had 2 games against Elves where they had 3 creatures in play, and I Solitude ephemerated and killed all 3, and the game was just like not even close from that point.
Yeah, because I guess like if you need to pitch for Solitude, you get a creature, you then ephemerate it, get another, and then rebound is the 3rd creature, which is just insane. It's a lot of value. Yeah. What is missing? What kind of did you shift to make room for the 3 ephemerates? Because when you look at this, you don't really see the card that's missing from sort of a stock deck.
Yeah, so the 3 cards that I cut from my stock D&T list are there's only 3 Skyclaves when I usually play 4. There's only 1 Lion Sash when I usually play 2. Um, and the last card that I cut in this list is the Timeless Dragon. I was worried a little bit about that one because it means you're just kind of playing a little bit fast and loose with your mana, something that I really like to not do with the list. I haven't personally found to be hurt by it too much. The nature of Ephemerate is, you're trying to play quicker. There's a lot of matchups where you can't really afford to spend mana on Timeless Dragon anyway, and ephemerating a Solitude is, one of the ways you can get around the need to have 5 mana and play to cast a Solitude. So it's worked out pretty well for me so far.
That's a great point. The other bear that I've seen a lot of talk about once it was printed, it's pretty cool for white to have a Rex Age type effect, but how have you found Lorwyn's had, what sort of effect has it had with matchups like, say, 8cast or other matchups that I think have been pretty rough for D&T in the past?
Yeah, I am a huge fan of Lauren. I think it is so much better than Commando. Cathar Commando was the card that was typically played in its slot for a while. There's having a disenchant that we can loop is really powerful. Against 8cast in particular, like you mentioned, one of the there's like, I don't think that matchup is that great even with Lauren, but it's really nice to be able to do something like kill a Saga before they even get to make a construct and then bounce it and then get to kill something else. It's really powerful. Yeah, there's and especially again with the uptick in Painter, I will say I haven't played against Painter. I just haven't queued into it personally. But I can imagine a lot of those games where you're just like casting a Lauren every turn are probably pretty hard for them to beat.
Yeah. And I do love that this kind of fire design, it just has one more thing, which is tap you and target opponent each draw a card, which obviously has some nice synergy when you do have Spirit in play. But I'm sure there's some decks where you don't mind just each drawing a card because you feel like the top decks of your deck are going to be better than your opponent's.
Yeah, I tend not to use it too much unless like I desperately need to draw something. But that is definitely, an additional aspect of the card that like you mentioned with Spirit, you just get to draw a free card every turn. But sometimes maybe you just like desperately need to draw one more card and hope that you get, it's just like an additional out sometimes, is hopefully my opponent's draw is bad, hopefully mine is good, and then maybe I win the game from there.
Yeah, I'd love to use it to win a game underneath like an ensnaring bridge where you get your opponent to draw the extra like 2 cards and attack with your 3-power creatures or something. That'd be pretty sweet.
I haven't seen that one yet, but that is a really good example of like a way that it can definitely be used.
Is there a big reason why a lot of the D&T decks that I've been seeing online have kind of moved away from the red splash and have just gone for the straight mono white?
I think the red splash, there's not like a clear target for it right now. I think originally it came out because you really wanted to have Magus of the Moon against 8 Mulch, because that matchup was horrible for DNT.
Yeah.
And around the same time was when Kappa Cannoneer got printed, and that is a very hard card to deal with once it's in play. And mono white doesn't have a way to prevent it from getting into play. So having a pile of Pyroblasts was really important, was very strong in that matchup. Right now, I think it's like kind of it's unclear whether the red splash is better or worse against Delver. It's probably about the same. It's definitely worse against Initiative though, because Magus just doesn't do anything and your mana is worse and hurts you. So I think that's probably the main reason that nobody is on the red splash right now. Cool. If there's a way that people figure out how to build the control decks to beat both Delver and Initiative, which seems unlikely, although maybe possible, then we could maybe see an uptick in the red splash, because those decks are pretty susceptible to Magus of the Moon. But until then, I think mono white is probably the way to go for now.
Yeah, cool. And then looking at the board, a lot of combo hate. I feel in the matches that I've played online recently, a lot of the combo decks have been graveyard based because they're trying to just go under initiative. So it definitely makes sense to see a lot of leyline, a lot of surgical, Grafdigger's Cage, Mindbreak Traps, obviously quite nice. Just being on the draw against some combo decks as well. So yeah, pretty heavy combo sideboard, which is pretty standard for Yorion D&T, especially online.
Yeah, and one thing I want to clarify is that the ley lines I pretty much only play in leagues, just because there is a particular abundance of those graveyard combo decks that you mentioned in leagues. If I was playing, you don't really have to change very much if you're playing this in like a premier event, like a challenge or a showcase or whatever, or playing in paper. Honestly, usually it's just turn one of the ley lines into a surgical, another one into another one or two into like mind break traps, deafening silences, and then the last one can kind of be whatever you want. I played in the showcase last weekend, and I think my board was something like one leyline became a surgical, another became a mind break trap, another became a rest in peace, and then the last one became a path to exile.
Nice. Yeah, it's probably the best part of leagues and challenges is that you get to change up things and see how the board goes based on what you expect. Because it is tough seeing like 5-0 lists get shared around. It's like, oh, everyone's playing ley lines. Like, yeah, but that's just online and that's just in leagues. Like, it's very different from playing like a LGS or like a competitive, like, bigger challenge or showcase event.
Yeah, leagues are their own beast. That's really the only reason we play ley lines. Yeah.
Nice. Any further comments before we get into a league?
I don't think so. I think I'm good to go.
Nice. Do you have a planes that you like to choose when you play D&T?
Yeah, so in paper and in Magic Online, I use Zendikar full art planes with the collector number 231.
Nice. I like that you know the collector number as well.
Yeah, you have to when you want to buy them. But yeah, I had a lot of those when I started playing the deck, and I just always liked the art. I also have a friend who was also a big fan of the art and like had bought a bunch of foils that he at one point sold to me. So I have like a bunch of them. I unfortunately don't have enough for Yorion in paper, so I have to like figure that one out. But yep, that's the one.
This one. Okay, very cool. Yeah, it's sweet. It's like half like a kind of like a pyramid-esque citadel.
Yeah, I like it. It's got like I just like that it's got like a nice dark color palette.
Yeah. Yeah, I do like the betas, especially the ones with like the lighter artwork in the artwork because I think there's 3 different ones you can get, and 2 of them look very similar.
Yeah, but, yeah. I think I can visualize them all. It's been a while since I looked at the betas, but
what are your thoughts on Snow Basics?
If you like Snow Basics, go ahead and play them. Don't play a split unless you just want your deck to look bad.
Yeah. All right.
No one's playing Predict.
Yeah. I believe we're up against Rich Cully, who I believe will be on Delver.
Okay. Let's see. This is a hand that I'm usually fine keeping. It's a little awkward that the Cauldron kind of makes this a mull to 6. But we're on the play with a few removal spells. Recruiter can fill any of the holes that we end up having. I think this is a hand I'm pretty happy to. I shouldn't say I'm happy, but certainly a keep.
Yeah, I mean, any like 1 or 2 drops pretty nice to draw into here as well, just to fill out that play.
Yeah, that's one nice thing about a hand like this is that there's very few bad draws.
Grief. Huh.
Grief
pitching Baleful Strix.
I think this is there's a build of the Death Shadow decks that has been popping up that's trying to like Grief and reanimate Grief to sort of pressure the initiative decks.
Yeah, I believe they don't play Street Wraith, they play Grief in that slot.
Yeah, I think that's right. Because of that, I want to think about using swords here, but I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
We might just have to let it resolve.
Yeah, I guess the thought is, if we use swords, it's a 1-for-1. They take a card, so it's a 2-for-1. If they take the swords and then we have to use, say, the solitude, then it's a 3-for-1.
Yeah, I guess another reason we might want to swords this is if they have a reanimate, then they could like discard our recruiter and reanimate that, and that looks kind of bad.
Ooh, yeah.
So yeah, I think we probably swords it. Just I guess they have the reanimate either way if that's the case. But I'm not sure.
Yeah, interesting as
I don't
well
have a
to
lot of
see.
decks against this yet.
Okay, interesting to see no land drop first either. To say like hold up days or something. Oh, maybe they just don't have a land. Huh.
Oh, interesting.
Surely.
Huh.
Surely, Rich. Okay, there we go.
Okay, yeah. Whew.
Okay.
All right, yep. Happy to port them.
Do you have any stops that you have in sort of your setup that you have just for D&T?
No, I don't think so. I don't mess with my stops very much. Wasteland is a little annoying, but not too bad. I pretty much stop. Nice. Let me think. I have upkeep, main, beginning, everything in combat I stop in, except for damage. Oh, another wasteland? Come on.
Okay, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, that's nice. Now we finally have a 2-drop to play. I think the only stop that like comes up somewhat often is I'll manually put in a draw stop if I need to port in a draw step instead of upkeep or something like that.
Okay, yeah. Nice.
Happy to cast that. And we know that one of the cards in his hand is an island, right? Because he picked it up for the days.
Correct, yeah. But yeah, Death Shadow I think is a really nice matchup. I think one of my favorite matches caught on camera for Legacy is it Justin Wu playing against Raptor on Death Shadow at the Pro Tour 25?
Yes, Alan Wu, I think. But
Alan Wu, yes.
There was a really cool. I don't remember if it was this match, but there was one where Alan won through like a triple Dreadnought or something
That
with
was
enough
it.
Revokers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in one of the matches, he got his Batterskull dazed like 3 times on turn 5 or something.
Yes. Yeah, I do remember that. Yep.
And you see like the first days coming out when he has like 3 mana open. He's like, wait, really? Or 2 mana open? He's like, really? Don't have it.
Don't you dare.
This is an interesting spot because I think a lot of players around Death Shadow say something like, you shouldn't get chip damage in, you should try to like build out and then swing in for lethal over a few turns. But I think in this case, we don't really have the luxury of just waiting and allowing him to start playing a Death Shadow.
Yeah, I would assume that he is going to get to the life total he needs to play a Death Shadow. And if he doesn't, I would like to get to the point where the game is over sooner. You know, I think that's like a fair point. It's not something that I incorporate into my play that often. But I think that's a point that could be pretty easily overvalued.
Yeah. Interesting spot because we can swords, which doesn't play around days, but they can't really play around force, or we can untap and play a land to swords playing around days.
Yeah, I think I want to take the draw step here. Since we're at 20, like we can afford to yeah, like if this draw is dead, it's not like we lose right on the spot. I think we can afford to take a draw step here.
Nice. Okay.
There we go. Yeah, I was thinking for a second of whether we want a wasteland, but I think we would just like to swords the Murktide and keep the wasteland up.
Okay. Nice.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this is one of those matchups where like it can sometimes look good to wastelands, but almost every time it happens, it's going to be worse for you than it is for them because
Yeah.
you value having mana in play so much.
Yeah, definitely. And I think next turn, like even if we don't draw anything live, we have 3 mana to put Yorion into hand at worst.
Yep.
The only real downside here is that they can potentially double cantrip or double spell, like Ponder or like Brainstorm and then Ponder or Fatal Push and something else. But yeah,
Yeah,
I
I think in
I,
general, I think Murktide Office changes a little bit, but I'm not too worried with them being able to cast like multiple cantrips. I'd rather than do that than like basically anything else. Um,
I think one part of my game plan that I can definitely work on in this year is not to be afraid of an untapped wasteland. Okay.
yeah, this is interesting.
Okay. It's pretty nice.
Ooh,
They have 2
yeah.
cards left. Probably just
Yeah, so we're definitely going to cast it. I think we want to keep the wasteland up still, though.
okay. I was gonna say we're getting Cauldron right, but of course we already have Cauldron in hand, so it's
Yeah,
hmm.
I think I
Sash
am
gets us a second threat.
yeah, I'm leaning towards Sash. Um, if we were closer to potentially casting Batterskull, I would think about it, but we're really not. And I
Hmm.
don't love Jite because all of their creatures are huge.
Nice.
So I think I'm happy to take Sash here. We can start potentially eating at their graveyard. There's a chance that'll keep them from casting a Murktide later, although obviously no guarantee.
Any thoughts on casting it now?
I don't want to cast it now because I think we're going to get a lot more value out of this second Caracas if we either let them wasteland us or there might be a turn where we use it to play around days in a much more impactful play.
Cool. Snuff out.
Bummer. Okay, I was wondering why he snuffed out because it seems, I guess getting the sash probably tells him that we have the Cauldron in our hands, but casting a Murktide after it also makes a lot more sense.
Hmm.
He has 1 card in hand?
Correct.
Okay. This time we are probably going to Stoneforge for Batterskull.
Cool. Um. 5, 6, 7. So they're definitely gaining 3 this turn, so they'll be at 12 next turn. So I think we're just passing here without playing the Sash and just holding up Cauldron next turn.
Yeah, for sure. There's a chance that we'll actually put in Batterskull over Cauldron, but we'll see. Because the stabilizing is probably more important than the bigger threat.
Yeah, it's true. I guess both are black tokens as well, which is nice against Snuff Out.
Yeah, I assume that if a snuff out's happening, it'll be cast on the Stoneforge before we get a chance to put anything in. But yeah, that is a very nice subtle thing that it's kind of thing you won't always notice because a lot of times it'll just mean that their cards are rotting in their hands. I don't mind that. Yeah, I think we cast Mom, and we definitely want to put in Batterskull here. Because if we don't, then we're just going to be dead unless we find an answer for the Murktide. Interesting.
I assume here they're trying to think that we don't have a third land and want to take this off the Stoneforge activation.
I think so too. I think we probably just let him have it though. The mom isn't super valuable here. Because it's not like we have anything in front of this Murktide anyway.
That's true.
So I think we can just let the mom get dazed.
I think the only card that really gets us here potentially is Sudden Edict, which I don't think is a main deck card. But I guess we kind of want them to attack with the Solitude as well, but they do know about the Batterskull, so it's a tough one. 4 mana. Oh, another Murktide?
Another Murktide. Is that... That doesn't kill us, right? As long as they attack with the Solitude, it doesn't kill us. If they
just attack with the Murktide, though, that is lethal. Yeah, tough.
Yep. And Rich is smart, so of course he's not going to attack with the Solitude.
Okay. Delver.
So the cards that I like to bring in against Death Shadow are the 2 Council's Judgments, nice. Just as extra removal, and the Rest in Peace. If we had any other removal, we would bring that in too. But since we don't, we'll just stay at that. And then the cards that I usually board out are usually I start at Lauren that you just dragged over because they actually, let me think about this. We might want to keep in Lauren specifically because they have Baleful Strix. And the card that I really want to board out is Thalia because a big issue with Thalia in this matchup is that it is a matchup that stays pretty low to the ground a lot of the time. And Thalia also can never block any of their creatures. All their creatures are just too big.
Yes.
So I usually try to board those out. And I think Lauren at least killing Baleful Strix is probably more valuable than that.
Yeah, especially from a value perspective where Strix draws a card and replaces itself straight up, so swordsing it obviously feels pretty bad, but Lorwyn dealing with it while also leaving a 2/1 body behind is pretty nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice.
And it maintains the Thalia ability of like blocking and bouncing to like keep us from dying to a Death Shadow or something like that. This hand's
1 extra mana would have been really nice.
Yeah, I think if this had like 3 lands over literally any card, or like the 3rd land over literally any card, it would be a Snapkeep. It's probably still good enough. I don't really think we can. I think it would be a little crazy to mulligan this.
Yeah.
I just always like hands with 3 lands.
Yeah. All right, Rich also on 7. Is there much of a difference between how you attack this matchup and something like blue-red?
Sort of. Rest in Peace is obviously good because they have Reanimate, and they also have Murktide, but it's not as good as it is against like Delver, where it basically shuts off like almost all of their threats. Ooh, that's exciting. Still, yeah, definitely still passing here though.
Yeah, I think the Wasteland's just too good for us.
Yeah, this is one of those Wastelands that's tempting, but is like almost certainly going to be worse for us than it is for them.
Yeah, especially to turn off like any 2-drop off the top as well.
Yeah, for sure. One nice thing about Death Shadow is that Swords and Solitude are both very good against it because you kill 1 big creature and it will take every Death Shadow with it. Interesting.
I wish you could ephemerate cards that were owned by you as well. That'd be pretty sweet.
Yeah, that's one thing that comes up. That's come up with me for Yorion a couple times. Is Yorion will only let you blink cards that you control and own.
Yes. But I assume if we draw, say, like land Flicker Wisp and Flicker the Recruiter, we get it back.
Yes, we do. Yep, that was a big reason why. One of the many reasons why Ragavan was like so easy for us to deal with. If they ever got a permanent off of it, a Wisp took it right back. And that's again one of the many reasons why that card was a lot easier for us to deal with than Delver Secrets, honestly.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So we know they took a Grief. So next turn, I can see them being in a position where they play the Grief and have 2 creatures in play, which kind of makes me want to hold up Solitude Ephemerate.
I think I'm into that. I guess my only concern is that no, I think that's fine. I think we want to get onto the board. It'll be unfortunate that like they'll still get to Grief something, but we'll get to keep it from being reanimated. After we do that, they can't cast any more creatures, or they will just get solituded. So I think that's fine.
It would be nice if they played like a Strix as well. Just get that 3rd creature out. Hey.
Yeah.
I guess if we wanted to here, we could Solitude the Strix and then Ephemerate to block the Recruiter.
We could do that.
It's not too much of a clock, so there's no rush, but
yeah, I think I like that just to gain the extra life. And definitely going to pitch Sash here.
Okay.
Just based on its low impact right now. Importantly, this play basically doesn't make sense unless we have Ephemerate, so we're probably telling him right now that we have it, but... All right, and the correct way to do this is to put the Evoke trigger on the stack first. It's fine if you do it the other way. It's not a huge deal, but...
Snuff out.
Snuff out. Sure. Yep, that's fine. I would certainly rather it not got snuffed out, but I think that's a trade we're probably happy to take.
Okay. Probably just putting Yorion to hand.
I actually want to turn this Field of Ruin into a Plains right away.
Cool. Okay. Yeah.
We know he has Basic Island because you showed it to us last game, but in any tempo matchup like this, I tend to lean towards just turning my Field of Ruins into basic Plains as soon as possible. Notably, we probably should have waited until his draw step to do it. I should have mentioned that before, but it's not. It rarely matters that much. So
that's on me. I apologize.
No, it's all good. Yeah, it's just since the land comes into I think it's you want to do it on their turn because the land comes into play untapped. So like there was a chance that he like played like a brainstorm into that fetch that he otherwise wouldn't have been able to. And then draw step can sometimes just tag the basic, but both the second one is a lot less important than the first one. Grief.
I assume here we swords because then if we don't swords, they take the swords, we untap and just judgment for turn, and they have some sort of counter magic, like say daze. Then we've kind of used our full turn anyway. But if we swords here, they take the judgment, we untap. We can kind of use our mana as we like.
Yeah, I think I'm into that. Yeah. I guess the only problem with using swords is if their counter magic is dazed, then that means they take both of them for sure.
Hmm.
Whereas if they take the swords, we can potentially draw land, untap in Judgment, and then they would have to have a force.
Hmm.
I think I would like to let this resolve and see what we draw.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. Ooh.
Well, let's. I think. Oh boy.
I kind of like baiting with the Judgment if they do have days, and then holding the Wisp for the
I
Recruiter.
agree with that. Yeah. Yeah. One thing we do have to be wary of here, that I should mention is Turok is a pretty common card in this sideboard. And that card's pretty tough to beat. If they have a they need 3 black sources, so we don't have to worry about it right now. But it's definitely a. Ooh, speaking of scary cards, definitely a thing we have to be on the watch for. It's a big reason Containment or Council's Judgment is definitely worth bringing in, even if it wasn't just a removal spell. Okay, that's big for us.
Are we still hitting the Recruiter here? Yeah, I assume so.
Yes, because we want to recruit for a Solitude, and then
Yorion
be
out of
able
hand.
to put Yorion under our hand. Yep. This will also force a removal spell out if they have one, and now this Murktide can't even attack.
Oh yeah, of course. I was like, but they can. But I was like, of course, they're just at 2 here.
They just add 2 life. Yeah. Okay,
Ooh,
that's
wow.
terrifying.
Oh, does that mean anything?
Interesting. Yes. We want to cast that right now because then we can wisp
Take
our
them
mom
on.
and take it back.
Yes, nice. They have 1 card left, and they're at 1 life, so it has to be a pretty good card here. Nice. Look at that Ephemery just doing work.
Yeah, there we go. Not its intended purpose, but it
Yeah.
it is. There's no doubting that the card has synergy with the deck.
That could have
That
just won
much
us
is.
the game, and it did.
And there we go.
That's
It
so
did. There
good.
you go.
That's such a good showing for the Ephemery deck. Nice. Yeah, I think some people could look at the ley lines and be like, they have Murktide, they have Reanimate, but I feel like, Rest in Peace is obviously a very solid card against those. Lion Sash is also quite nice at just like taking out cards straight away. And these aren't dead cards either. Like Leyline's very Feast or Famine, where if it's in your opening hand, like it might be okay as like a 6 with Leyline, but if you draw it, it's just terrible, especially in a matchup where like top decks really count.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say like these games basically always get down to low resources, and top taking a ley line will lose you games for sure.
Okay. Nice. Pretty
Yeah, I'm happy enough with this one.
solid. I wish Ajano was like a white land so you could pitch it to Solitude, but maybe one day.
I'm glad it's not because it kills pro white creatures.
Ah, very true. That is a great point. I take that back.
But once if/win initiative gets banned, yes, I wish Iganjo was a white card. Yeah, one nice thing there is that he kind of just has to take the vial if he doesn't have an answer for it, because that just opens up the possibilities so much as we get further into the game. So
Yeah, especially once it's on board. I've seen some lists that used to play Ratchet Bomb, but there's a new one that takes out artifact lands as well, or at least an old card that does a similar thing.
yes, Powder Keg is
There we go.
the old one.
Yeah, I've seen that pop up in some lists. The Ponder was a shuffle straight up.
Okay.
Nice. At least next turn, if they don't play a creature onto the board, we just have planes into Yorion.
Yeah, and I'm happy to do that. We have the Solitude in our hands, so like that's a good enough reason to have the extra white card in our hands.
All right. Hmm.
I'm happy to see that.
Yeah. Especially seeing they just used the push.
Yeah, how many cards does he have? Is that 4? I see.
Correct. 4 cards in hand.
4 cards in hand. Used a push on the mom, and there's a Thoughtseize on the vial. So I don't
Yes.
think I want to get Cauldron here. Maybe we still do.
It's I assume they don't have snuff out because I think snuff out's a little bit better for them if they're trying to build towards Death Shadow, especially when we have no creatures on board, so it's not like their life total is under that much of a threat.
I would assume it's still possible they have a snuff out. Push does at least use all of their mana for sure, and snuff out will be free whenever they need it to be. And this is definitely a matchup where that's going to matter. I think I'm leaning towards getting a Batterskull here.
Cool. This could also just be forced, but thankfully not.
Yeah. 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 I'm not 100% sure about that one. But, you know, if it lives, we're happy to gain a bunch of life. So.
Are there any new Brothers War, like old school boarded cards that you want to pick up for D&T?
Not for D&T that I remember. I think I remember very few of the like white and artifact ones being notable.
Yeah. Have you
There
seen
were a couple, but
the kind of brown bordered Stoneforge Mystics online?
I have. I really wanted to get them until I saw how many tickets they were, and I'm like, I'm not. I don't think they're like ridiculous, but like when I checked, GoatBots didn't even have any in stock, so
Okay.
I'm sure they're hard to get a hold of.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm much more interested in some of the old border cards for my cube. I have a Pauper cube.
Oh, that's cool.
So some of the cards in there got old border treatments. So I'm excited about
Nice.
picking those up.
That's sweet.
I remember seeing Chain Lightning, Mog War Marshal, a couple
Is
others.
Bauble
Can't
a
remember the
common?
others. What's
I
up?
don't think is Bauble a common or an uncommon? Mishra's Bauble.
Uncommon.
Okay, that makes sense actually. Do you ever play much Pauper?
Yeah, I do. It's the format I play next most to Legacy, actually. I started playing probably like four-ish years ago, I think. Yeah, I don't know. It's definitely an acquired taste. I understand why there's a lot of people who don't really like it because I think it's the nature of the format is that like the threats are all kind of horrible and all the answers are great. But I think that leads to some like kind of neat. It's there was a joke that I saw about Pioneer and why people aren't like in love with Pioneer in its current state. It was something to the extent of like Pioneer sucks because like all the decks are bad but all the cards are broken. And I feel like Pioneer or Pauper is like the exact opposite of that kind of. Like I think the decks are kind of dumb and mopey. Or sorry, the cards in them are like pretty dumb and mopey, but the decks are like really coherent and cool.
Yeah. I left this grief resolve because I thought it was going to be their answer to the Batterskull, and I didn't want to use the Solitude or the Sword. And now that it's coming back, I don't really mind either way for what they take.
I agree, yeah, and I don't think I would have removed it either. Because I would have assumed that it was also the answer to the Batter Skull, and that's annoying, but I don't think it's worth like proactively using a swords on it. It's not like they're never going to have something to use that reanimate on at this point.
Hmm. They leave the sword. It's nice as well because Agina was just a nice answer to the grief if they do attack with it, and then we can hold the sword for something like Murktide.
Yeah, I think here, with him on 3 lands, all 3 are black sources. I think I want to play this Karakas out.
Okay.
And yeah, hold up the Iganjo to kill the grief.
Cool.
There's a chance that he won't even attack with the grief because he knows that we have the Iganjo, but we'll see.
Do you think then we have a free attack with the Stoneforge? Because if he blocks, we can just Ganjo it.
I don't think it's worth it because I would like to see if he does anything else before that.
Nice. But yeah, Brothers War also got Entomb reprinted, which is pretty nice because those are getting pretty expensive, especially the Odyssey ones.
Oh yeah.
What's this going to be? If it's Murktide, that's more than fine because you have the swords, and it puts them down to 1 card.
Yeah, looks like it. Yeah, I'd be pretty happy to take that trade.
Yeah, even just the known information as well. Like 1 card left, we have the board pretty well covered.
Is that a 5/5 Murktide?
Correct.
Left a bunch of spells. Okay, so the last card in his hand is another Murktide, so we have to be ready for that. Well, it's not what we wanted to see, but we will still certainly put Yorion in our hand here.
Yeah. So I assume here we take 5, go to 13.
Yeah.
Oh, nothing. Wow.
Interesting. Okay. I like that extra land to play too.
Yeah. I wonder if they're holding up a Force of Will with Murktide to enter the Yorion. If that's the...
That's possible. I think we're gonna make him show us that.
We can start with an attack.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, we can. Had to think about it for a second, but yeah. It's funny that we're in match 3 and we have not, or game 3 of this match, and we have not even seen a Death Shadow in play.
Yeah. Nice. 5.
I'd be curious. I wasn't paying attention to the cards he was pitching with Grief. I would be curious if any of them were Death Shadows, because that's probably smart, honestly, to not put Death in play.
Nice. What's this going to be? Just a hard cast snuff out? Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. Okay. I see we're in the red zone, so we'll try to pick up the pace.
They're attacking with the Grief. Oh, does it have Menace? Okay, that actually makes sense.
Yeah, it's Menace. Yeah. Okay.
Oof. 2, 4.
Make him have it. Yeah, we're going in.
Ah.
Brutal. Yeah. I wish I could say I was surprised.
I guess we haven't seen one yet. Yeah.
No, I don't think so. I think we haven't seen any counter magic this game, have we?
Ooh.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah. We get to flicker Yorion and then just hold up a Ganjo?
Yes.
So I probably just want to tap like this to make sure they can't like
So we
wasteland us off the ability.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, I guess it only costs 2 anyway. That's on me. Because it is a legendary creature.
Yeah, I think we yeah, so I guess we could have kept the Crocus untapped, but
no.
I'd rather keep the Wisp in play. Yeah.
Yeah. This is the way Lauren looks really good if we can top deck it.
Yeah.
It's nice that this can't be hit by like Thoughtseize or another Grief as well.
Yep, for sure. I think the only thing it can get hit by is Torok, really.
Oh, no attacks.
Yeah, I think he knows we have the Iganjo in hand, so I think that actually makes a lot of sense. It shows some weakness in his hands that he's not willing to attack, but it is a good thing at least.
Is there an attack here with Flicker Wisp?
No. I am leaning towards attacking with Flicker Wisp because we don't have a way to really get through these Baleful Strixes. Sorry, Strices. My wife would be upset if I didn't say Strices. I think we kind of just have to get through these the hard way, and the sooner we start that, the better.
Yeah.
Getting to port here feels good again because Turok is one of the scary things we can see here, and keeping them off casting that is very nice. Okay, he's definitely just top decking it at this point though, because still has four black sources, so more than able to cast it if he has it.
Do you like attacking here with the Ganjo up?
I don't like attacking here because if we're forced to, we would kind of force ourselves to use the Iganjo on the Baleful Strix, at which point we then do not have a clear way to not die to the Grief.
Yeah.
I think we're basically priced into holding up Iganjo for Grief probably forever. Interesting.
I assume the top deck then was Murktide?
Probably.
Or another Strix.
Yeah. I think another Strix wouldn't have it would not have incentivized them to attack with the
other Strix.
With the Grief.
Oh, okay. Now it's a tough spot.
Yeah, now I think we're pretty much on Solitude or Bust. That's not it.
Tough. Cool game spot. Pretty back and forth.
Yeah. So that the very end of that game did show one of the weaknesses of Ephemerate is that it is a much worse top deck in situations like that than basically any of the cards that we cut for it.
Yeah.
One thing worth noting is that all of the cards that we cut for Ephemerate would not have gotten us out of this situation. Sorry, I guess if it was specifically a timeless dragon, there's a chance it would have bought us a turn or two longer. But that's about it. It's not like we're cutting Flicker Wisps or Recruiters or other Murktide answers.
Very true. I'm just going to the bathroom real quick. If you want to talk to chat, that'd be very cool. I'll be back in 2 minutes.
All right. Catching up on chat. I have not tried Touch the Spirit Realm over Ephemerate. There was actually a Japanese D&T player. His name's Yoshiwada. He just top 8'd the challenge today with a list that had a couple Touch the Spirit Realms in it. I definitely see the appeal. In that, for example, it would have been better than Ephemerate there as a better top deck since it is actually removal. I think the reason I'm less into it is it's more expensive. I think that matters a lot. I don't like relying on cards like that to actually be removal. I don't know. I've played a lot. I've played D&T for a long time. I've been in the spots where I had to board in Oblivion Rings, and I never really liked it. So I'm a little iffy on it, but I definitely think it's definitely something worth testing. And yeah, the channel not being counterable is definitely a big part of that.
Good warm up.
Yes, absolutely.
Have you ever looked into Maverick, being a creature fan?
I have not personally. I have had friends who really like Maverick. I think Green Sun Zenith is a really cool card. I think I don't know, there's just something about Aether Vial in particular that just really speaks to me.
Yeah. It's like a soul ring that just gets better every turn.
Pretty much.
Do you think, say, if Initiative did lead the format, if it would sort of increase the stock of D&T's viability?
I think it depends what replaces it, really. If we go back to the format we had before, probably, because a lot of the fair matchups were good. Particularly, a lot of people liked playing like the 4-color control deck that I think is a very good matchup for D&T.
Pretty happy to keep this. Turn 1 Vial.
Yeah, for sure. I wish we had some like spell lands when we have Vial, like Port or Wastelands, but it's still happy to have a hand like this. And it's Delver. All right.
It's funny. Probably other than Ponder, turn 1 Delver is like, phew. It's not DRC.
Yeah, it sucks that they just don't play turn 1 Ponder much anymore. I feel like they almost are always playing a turn 1 threat now, but
yeah. Okay, it's a pretty nice top.
Yep, happy to see that.
Especially DRC with double Bauble. Like, they could get a 3/3 DRC straight away. Especially if they have a fetch land.
That is very true.
Because they have to have the fetch land, but still. Now this has to flip, surely. Yes.
What did they reveal?
Ponder.
Okay.
In game 1, do you think about force negation or not?
Not really at all, no. If they have it, they have it, but it's usually like 1 or 2 max, so I don't sweat it too much. I would like to Swords the flipped Delver right now, though.
Okay.
I don't want to give him the chance to untap.
And potentially brainstorm into something?
Yeah, potentially brainstorm into something. They could like hard cast a Daze or something like that. I guess the hard cast a Daze wouldn't do anything there, but Now we might be presented with an exciting option here.
Yeah, I was just
Since
thinking
this
about
Delver didn't
the trade, especially if they don't play a land first.
Yeah, I think we absolutely present the trade and make them have the bolt, because if they have a bolt, it's going to get used on the mom regardless. So I am almost always happy to trade moms for their creatures.
Yeah,
it doesn't
definitely in
happen
the same spot.
often, and I am happy to do it when it comes up. Yeah.
Exactly. Any match I find, especially with Maverick, where you can turn Mum into like Swords to Plowshares 5 or 6, it's just so good.
Yeah. Especially in our hand here, that's kind of light on action. Like,
oh, okay.
Okay, we're getting this trade.
I don't think my opponent will attack. That's my call.
I have less faith in them than you do, but
okay.
we'll see. If they don't attack, we'll take that as a win too, especially because this mom is going to untap. Yep, here we go.
Especially to know that another threat isn't coming down post combat. It's really nice as well. Okay. I
think I just want to.
You go.
I just want to put Yorion into our hand here. The port's just gonna get wastelanded.
Yeah. So do you like planes into Yorion?
Yeah.
Just keep that mana building up.
I find against Delver, I basically always play planes over any other land if I have one, because it's definitely the matchup where it is most true that like you just need your mana in play. The longer it's in play, the higher chance of you like establishing your board, getting ahead of them, being able to keep up with their broken threats. Any non-basic, even if it's not like you don't need it right now, but it's going to mean that you can't hardcast a Solitude when you otherwise might have been able to, and a lot of times that's going to matter. All right, CRC. Another Plains. So I think I'm happy to actually play the port now, because with this Vial on 3, it's pretty likely that we're just going to want to wait until Vial is on 5 to put in this Solitude in the Yorion so that they can't get countered. It wasn't clear if we were going to be able to do that next turn, because if they play a Murktide here, then it looks a lot different instead of just the DRC.
Yeah, it's very true. Interesting they didn't allow the Wasteland in our end step. Like, I'm not too sure what the better target is, unless they're really worried about something like Caracas with Yorion, or just wanting the mana.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. It is possible they're going to use it to cast a Murktide here and potentially be able to keep Delirium without having to delve the extra card, but I don't know exactly where their graveyard is, so. Yeah, I think in general, their wastelands are better used on white sources when they can. But I find that most of the time Delver uses them pretty aggressively.
So next turn, worst case, we take 6 and go to 8, and then we get to untap with both Yorion and Solitude, which is pretty sweet.
Yeah. I'm definitely hoping we draw something that's not a land.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Baiting the stifles, are you?
Yeah, I don't mind it. I usually like to activate Vial, but there's some points definitely where activating it and not putting something in does give your opponent the information as well that you don't have, say, a 3-drop in that case.
Yeah, I tend not to just because I don't. It's extra clicks I don't like to bother with. Yeah, there's definitely points where it can be pretty valuable to bluff though.
I like Thalia here into hold up Caracas.
I think so. Now that they've played that, now they've used the Wasteland, I agree with that.
They also bottomed one from the DRC, which makes you think they obviously are not looking to find another.
Yeah. The other nice thing about Caracas here is Thalia isn't super valuable against Delver, especially when they already have a board. There's a chance that this will slow them down on the turn they're trying to cast Murktide, and then we can just bounce it to our hand and use it for Solitude Fuel if we really need to cast the Solitude right now.
Okay.
Actually, notably, what we could do is bounce Thalia, evoke Solitude pitching Thalia, and then Violin Yorion to blink it.
Nice. Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
We only definitely have to do that if we don't draw another white card, so we'll see. But
I wonder if they bolt face.
yeah, I'm guessing that bolt is targeting face, right? No, it's not. Okay.
Especially when we're
I
so
would
low.
be way more scared if that bolt was on our face. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, especially if they had, like, imagine if they had double bolt there and they went after Thalia again. It's like, we're at 8. There is a world, if they, I guess they will play a land here because they haven't already, but there is a place where we could, okay, there's the land. If they were tapped out, we could have, like, played Thalia, evoked Solitude if we drew into a white card, and then Yorion it to get full value, while also playing around Force, but it's not the case. Okay.
Another Thalia. I don't hate playing that anyway. Let me think about it though. So if we evoke Solitude and they counter it, we're not dead because we still have the Yorion. It'll just be sad because we don't actually use it as a removal spell.
Correct.
If Solitude resolves, then we're in an incredibly good spot. Yeah, I think we play a Thalia and then pitch the other Thalia to Solitude. I think they've shown us one bolt and no forces.
Correct. There is, yes, no forces in the bin. Yeah. Wow. What's one less blue card for them to pitch?
Yeah. Yeah, and now I would like to Solitude pitching Thalia. This is a little bit risky. If they have a force, it is sad. But importantly, if they have a force, we're not dead because we still can put the Yorion in.
Yeah. They do have the fetch.
They do have force. Okay.
Yeah, I think the only other card there that would have helped was Wasteland, because you could Wasteland the fetch land to start everything.
Yes, true. Good point.
The nice thing as well about Caracas is that if they attack with the DRC, they have to kind of like bolt the Yorion if they want to deal with it before damage. So we return the Caracas, return the Yorion with Caracas. Yep. Are there many one-ups you've seen from Delver where you've kind of been like, wait, what? You're playing that?
I don't think so. I think the thing that surprises me most about Delver is when they board in counterbalance. That's happened like a surprising amount against me, and it's not good. Don't board in counterbalance against stuff in Texas.
Oh, that makes sense. I guess the day's last turn, just returning Sanctuary is good value.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But now we know the card in top. Okay. So now this Yorion's going to be really nice because they have to attack with this.
Have to attack with that, so we're going to eat DRC. I'm actually inclined to block Delver because I guess we'll see if they attack with both. They probably should attack with both because otherwise neither of them are getting in damage really ever. Yeah, so I want to specifically block Delver here because DRC will be forced to attack, which means we can make another profitable block there later.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy keeping the Vial at 5 as well.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Especially with the Caracas. Then we can just 6 here.
Yeah, if their graveyard wasn't as stocked, there would be an argument for killing DRC instead, so that they couldn't like fuel to get like a Murktide in play. But their graveyard's huge; it doesn't really matter.
It's pretty good.
That's not bad.
Do you like attacking with both? And then
I do like attacking with both. We can yeah, I like attacking with both, playing Sash. I would like to how big is their graveyard? It's like 20 cards.
22.
It's like enormous. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I think I just want to cast Sash. There's no reason to really proactively eat anything, but we will probably eat something.
Yeah,
we'll just like use the rest of our mana at the end of the turn. This is game 1, Sleepy.
Are we just gonna return Yorion now and then hold it up?
We can wait. I guess no, we shouldn't wait specifically because of Brazen Borrower.
Nice.
So let's just blink this now.
Nice. Yeah, main deck Pyroblast is also a great point.
Yes, also Pyroblast. Yep. Yeah, I guess we can play around Brazen Borrower by activating the Vial and then bouncing Yorion, so we can play around it that way. But Blast is actually a good reason. I think it's unlikely they have it in their hand, given how long this DRC's been in play. I think they would have put it in the yard if they hit it by now, but
yeah, luckily they have 5 types as well with instant sorcery, creature, land, artifact. So it's pretty hard for like a Murktide to turn off Delirium while also making the Murktide a viable threat.
Yeah, right now I'm assuming that waste on the Crocus is annoying, but okay, here's a Murktide. So in response to this Murktide, what I want to do is eat more spells out of their yard.
Okay.
We don't want to do it once it's resolved because of that lovely extra line of text that's on Murktide for no good reason.
Yeah.
But obviously we want to wait until after they've exiled some, and specifically we want to start with the 2 expressive iterations, and
Yeah.
then after that probably the lightning bolt.
Okay. Expressive. Bolt. Probably just a.
Oh, there's a second expressive iteration.
Oh, there is 2. Nice. Cool.
And then we want to put Yorion in now to block this. Actually, one thing I should have considered, I feel kind of silly not. If the Lion Sash had eaten permanents, if we just ate like some artifacts, then we could reconfigure Sash onto Yorion and be able to block Murktide profitably.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
We can still do that if we draw any land, notably.
Okay, that's pretty good.
We
as
can
well.
also just draw a Solitude, and everything is nice and easy. Yeah, so this play is rewarded by eating the instants, because now it means a follow-up Murktide is going to be a lot worse, and they even scoop. Cool.
You love to see it. I would say this is pretty close to how we boarded last time. Like, 2 Judgments and the Rest in Peace seem really good.
Yep. The boarding outs are slightly different. I start with Lauren for sure, because they definitely don't have anything that they're going to bring in that we want to kill.
But counterbalance.
The next card, yes, but the counterbalance, of course. I then next cut is basically always Kaldra.
Yeah.
Because you very rarely get in situations where you're racing against Delver. You're basically always trying to stabilize, and then you win with whatever you have in play after that. And notably, they just play a bunch of flyers, so Kaldra cannot block any of them.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's usually splitting between Thalia and Spirit are my cuts from there.
Okay.
Thalia, kind of for the same reason against Death Shadow, where it's not blocking any of their creatures. It does stop them, is certainly better against Delver than it is against Death Shadow, but sometimes the tax hurts you, especially when we're playing Ephemerate. Usually what I do is I start with Thalia. I start cutting Thalia when I'm on the draw, and I start cutting Spirit when I'm on the play.
Okay, nice. That is... yeah, really slim sideboarding, which I like.
Yep. It's a good matchup. You don't have to try it too hard. Some lists will have like extra rest in pieces, which is obviously a slam dunk against them. Like I said, the list I played in the showcase this past weekend also had a Path to Exile.
Yeah, the path is really nice as well, especially seeing most lists are only on one island, and they typically go for it earlier than usual because we're a wasteland deck.
Yeah. This hand has good top decks, but I don't know if it's keepable.
I'd be happy to mulligan once, just to have like a bit more of a plan than be very respondent to what they do.
Yeah, I think I'm actually okay. The more I think about it, the more I'm okay keeping it. It's kind of a 3-card, or it's kind of a hand with 3 action spells, because the Iganjo would basically want it to be a removal spell as much as it can be. So I think I'm happy with swords and Iganjo plus this Ephemerate. That'll be good with almost anything that we draw.
Okay, nice.
We also have 2 planes, and the double Crocus is not a huge deal because they're certainly going to wasteland one of them.
Yeah. Ooh, nice. Another Delver start.
All right.
Well, at least we get to control the board for a while.
Yes, we do. I'm happy to take the first hit from Delver rather than potentially let the sword get dazed.
Yeah.
We have so many lands that I think we can afford to play around daze a bit here.
Yeah, but
The
really
one scary
pushing
thing about
this.
Delver. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that yeah, the brainstorm here is quite nice because it kind of feels forced, like they're really trying to be down as soon as possible.
Yeah, and that definitely feels good against our hands. One thing I wanted to mention is that obviously because of initiative, Delver has pro-white creatures in their sideboard now that we have to be wary of.
Yes.
So we're going to hold on to this Iganjo basically as long as we can. We have other answers. We have Council's Judgment. We also have both Jita and Batterskull are answers to them in varying different ways. But
I guess, yeah, Unchained Berserker and sometimes Blood Knight are the two big ones.
yeah, I've seen Berserker a lot more than I've seen Blood Knight. I'm assuming mostly because it's a 3-power attacker versus a 2-power attacker.
Yeah.
I think Blood Knight is cooler. But ooh, rest in peace. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Um,
Probably next turn. Like this turn, hold up swords around days. Next turn, rest in peace around days.
yeah, I'm actually happy to sword sorcery speed here.
Cool.
Just again, don't make them have to use a force here, rather than getting to do anything potentially fancier.
Yeah, because maybe I read too much into it, but by brainstorming there to get the true name.
Gross.
No, okay.
Nope.
But Judgment
sure
does.
doesn't.
That's nice.
Yeah, Judgment is our only answer for true name, unfortunately.
Probably happy to throw a Caracas here into a wasteland.
Yeah, Caracas, play the rest in peace just to have it out there so there's no the follow-ups to this are limited. But yes, unfortunately, this is the sort of pro-white card that they sometimes play, as opposed to the Unchained Berserker and Blood Knight, like you said.
How did we miss true name?
Because I don't like to think about this card very much. Top 3 least favorite cards ever printed, and it's not particularly close. Well, this is a bit of a bummer. I think I want to put Yorion into our hands.
Yeah.
Because we're not really gaining a lot by either porting or holding up mana. And there's a chance that we're just going to have to race this true name. So, and getting Yorion into our hands will potentially help with that.
I guess I'll just ask before we put your in the hand, is there any thought on sorting the DRC?
I don't think so, because I want to be prepared for us to have to swords one of our own creatures to live through true name attack.
Yeah.
With the way that with the way that this game is progressing.
Hey Jason, big thank you.
Yeah,
okay.
Who made this card playable? How dare they? Goodness, I'm not sure what I want to do here. They have 3 cards in hand, and they've just been playing a bunch of lands, which kind of makes me feel like they might just be hard casting a force on the next thing that we cast. We might just need that thing to be Yorion then. Because again, we're not this game is going to end to this true name sooner rather than later. So I don't think holding anything close to the chest is really doing us any favors.
Yeah.
The
Especially
hope is
seeing
that
they
we can
haven't.
get a Solitude into play, and then the Solitude kind of keeps the true name from attacking.
Yeah, that's a great point,
Because
especially with
that'll just be a...
Ephemerate as well. Nice. Okay.
Yeah. All right, this is something. This is something. So,
is there any thought of
we
playing around Force with ports?
no, because we think we need to use our mana here. Because what I'm thinking is that we're gonna play this Recruiter, cross our fingers. It doesn't get forced. Sick. I think we have to get a Stoneforge here.
Okay.
Now let's hope that this doesn't get forced.
Okay.
Nice. Okay. What I would like to do here is to get a Batter Skull. And we're hoping that their answer to this Stoneforge is a Lightning Bolt. And then we will Ephemerate, and we're going to get them.
I assume if they have Bolt, they bolt us.
Oh, yeah, I guess if they have a Bolt, we're just dead, yeah. And if they have a Bolt, we have no... Yeah, we have no outs
Swords,
anyway.
our own creature?
We have Swords, our own Recruiter, which I guess is what we're doing.
Yes. Is there a way... No. I'm trying to think of a way to like Ephemerate Recruiter for Solitude and then get Solitude back with Ephemerate, but that doesn't work.
Yeah, unfortunately, it does not. Swords the Recruiter rather than the Stoneforge.
Hmm. Yep. Oh. I really hope that it's a double bolt. And it's just, that's it.
Yeah. That would be
Okay,
a lot
cool.
easier. Okay. All right.
Come on, Council's Judgment.
That is not Council's Judgment. All right. I guess if we had gotten Jite here, then we would have been able to live. So maybe that was the thing we really needed to get.
Is there a way? Look, we can try. I assume they just attack with the true name, but you never know. I feel like we have enough time for game 3 as well.
Yeah, we do for sure. Yeah, so Jite there would have allowed us to put in Jite, equip the Stoneforge, attack, and get counters. And then we could have gained 4 life, which is 1 more than the true name is dealing us, and we potentially would have been able to stabilize from there. Sadly, that did not happen.
I switched.
And now
Spirit with Thalia.
Yeah. Now I'm also considering whether we want to bring back in Cauldra now that we know that they specifically have true name Nemesis. Because Cauldra can get blocked at least, but Trample means that we're still going to get lifelink, we're still going to get GT triggers, things like that. And I think I'm happy to bring that in over one of the Thalias.
Cool. Nice. Right. 3 lands, 2 spells. Not that, but a lot of removal.
I'm happy with that.
Yeah. Especially with just a plains is always nice.
Yeah, for sure.
Put it on 6.
Also like to hear that.
Like, pretty nice if one of these swords was an Ephemerate.
Yes, for sure.
Okay.
I think that's exactly what I wanted to draw.
Yeah.
So it's kind of funny how often I'm just like, please, just basic planes. I don't need anything fancy. I just want a white source that cannot be wastelanded.
Okay. Pretty happy to sword the DRC and then probably just try to Skyclave next turn the Delver.
Yep, fully agree.
Nice. Planes? Oh, the second Solitude is actually pretty nice. Nice.
Now that feels real good.
Hmm.
As long as they don't play True Name Nemesis. All right, yeah, they can Expressive Iteration. That's fine.
Would you say you have
Was
like
that
a...
volcanic?
Oh, sorry. I believe it was off the iteration.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was curious about. Yep. What was your question?
If you couldn't play D&T in Legacy, what would be like your second deck?
Good question. The deck that I played, the second most is Elves, actually, which is kind
I
of
was
funny.
gonna say Elves. Damn it, should have said it first.
Yeah. No, I played like Nettle Elves like a long time ago, like 2014ish. I really enjoyed playing that deck. And that is probably what I would play if D&T did not exist.
Just gonna put Yorion into hand.
Yeah.
And attack and pass.
How original. This is Council's Judgment off the top. It's that easy.
Solitude.
All right, another Solitude. That means any follow-up threats are going to be handled. And as soon as a Solitude is in play, again, it just means True Name can't really attack until they have a Bolt.
There's only one card I don't want to see from my opponent. Other than a second True Name, it's probably just Wasteland.
Yeah.
Curse you.
Yeah, next turn, well, we at least get to attack as long as they don't play anything else scary. There's a good chance that we're just going to keep casting these Solitudes until one of them resolves.
Yeah.
We have Yorion to reuse it if we need it for the removal. We also have the swords in play, or the swords in our hands to use on anything scary. But yeah, I think I'm happy to just keep casting Solitudes until we have a lifelinker on the board.
Yeah, Solitude's so good. Like such a big printing for Legacy White decks.
Yeah, I remember early on when the spoilers were coming out that we just like weren't really sure what it was going to do, and it turns out, I mean, I'm glad that they figured out how to print a really good white card that's actually good in D&T more than it is in, the blue-white control decks. Ooh, that's nice. Because it seems like every time they make a new white card, it's like a prismatic ending, right? Where it's technically a white card, but it's basically unplayable in a mono white deck.
Yep.
And I'm really glad that I feel like Solitude just hits hit right on like every part of it, if you ask me.
Is there any thought here of just putting in Solitude now and playing around Hardcast Force? Or would you just end step it, and if they have Force, they have Force?
I think I would just end step, and if they have Force, they have Force. Because there's a chance that they're going to have a follow-up there, and we're going to wish that we used it on that.
Murktide.
Like this Murktide they're casting right now. If this Solitude gets countered, I definitely want to sorcery speed the next one.
Cool.
Actually, no, sorry, I lied. I think if they had forced, I wanted to. Now, I would like to do it in their upkeep.
Okay. No attacks.
Yep. Yeah, clocking them isn't super important here, so.
Probably Solitude again.
Mm.
Well, you're gonna bolt us. Interesting.
Well, now we have to Solitude it, right? So let's do it again.
Pitch in the Skyclave. Then we still have Yorion on.
Skyclave, yeah.
Interesting to bolt there. Just giving away more information before like you kind of like have to.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they did that, honestly. I am happy they did, but I don't know why.
Ooh.
Now that's good.
Okay. Okay. Probably just going for Jide and play Jide?
I think so.
I mean, it could come down to them throwing away this bolt and not being able to bolt the equipped creature, which might even keep them from
Yeah.
attacking next turn.
And we would be pretty happy if that's the case.
Yeah.
I think the main reason to not cast the Jite here is Meltdown. But Meltdown is not nearly as popular as it used to be, so I think it's okay to just use our mana here.
Okay. Probably here as well, happy to attach it to the Stoneforge Mystic, so at least if they kill the Skyclave, they don't get an extra.
Yeah.
Can attack with both. Okay. Land, equip, and then just hold up sword around days?
Yep. And if we have to use swords on our Skyclave, we will, but hopefully we don't. There are one card in hands?
Yeah, I assume here they're getting bolt.
Oh, sure. Right. They can just Sanctuary for that. Yeah, that's annoying. I guess it doesn't really matter. Unfortunately, I think we're just dead because even a Council's Judgment will only deal with the true name, but not the 1/1 token. Ugh. That's like
tough.
the saddest time to draw that card. Oh my god.
That's really tough. I think my neighbor is using some power tools. Can chat hear that? Hopefully not. Or hopefully it's quite soft.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm hearing the same thing as them, but I know I can't hear it.
Okay. I might just mute a little bit more than usual. Yeah, definitely a tough spot. I think the true name was just so strong in both games. especially turn 3. Like
Yep.
bang.
Yeah, tree name's the worst. I hate that card. I've been thinking about whether I want to play 3 Council's Judgments in my board, given this like the number of true names per white creatures in general that there have been. I have thus far leaned on not doing it, mostly because I've seen the pro white cards, which at least we have more answers to than true name. But if true name becomes like the more popular one in Delver, then I think we might need more Council's Judgments.
Do you have any thoughts on Blessed Alliance?
I think that card is too situational, personally. I remember the days when the only answer we had to Council's Judgment was oh god, what's it called? It's a white instant.
Unholy Light?
Not Unholy Light.
Celestial
white
Purge?
instant.
No, Celestial. I know the card. It's like target player sacrifices a creature.
Celestial Flare. Target player sacrifices an attacking or blocking creature.
There we go.
Which is pretty similar to Blessed Alliance.
Are you pretty happy here just to throw the spirit into a daze?
Let's see. They kept 7 and they just played Island and passed.
Yeah.
I am feeling safe enough that I'm happy to play around days.
As in just pass?
Yeah, just pass.
Cool. Yeah, it's always the tricky one. Especially when you have the VAR, you're like, oh, it's one more turn. Or like when you have, say, Thalia, and you're like, you can hold up Krakus one turn later.
Yeah. I don't know for sure if it's right. Like, this could just be like a combo deck, and we're gonna really wish we had the spirit in play. But I like to lean towards making them uncounterable when I can. Marsh Flats. That's an interesting land. This is probably
Breakfast?
Breakfast then, yeah. Is going to be a Nomads? It is a Nomads, yep. Well, unfortunately, our hand is looking pretty bad if they just play a Cephalid Illusionist. So hopefully we draw something good. Well, that doesn't help. Yeah, I want to leave mana up to incentivize them to not go for it.
Oh, we can hit that before they can tap it for mana?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. I've never had the opportunity to do that with Wasteland or anything else.
I'm honored to break that cherry with you.
Yes, absolutely. It doesn't feel super likely to matter, but like, I guess the reason maybe to not do it is so that they can't, because they're going to have mana anyway, though. So, something I should have realized.
That's true. At least if they try to bounce here and draw, they don't because the spirit.
Yes. Interesting. So most most breakfast lists don't play removal main, and they usually have very little if they do have it. So I'm inclined to just give Spirit Pro White force through the attack on the Teferi, so that they have to play scared of something.
Yeah. Okay.
Instead of just getting to like go off for free, basically.
What are your thoughts on play Vile, play Wisp, Wisp one of the lands to hold up a bluff of Sword Splashes?
I would like to just play Vile and keep Wisp in our hand.
Okay. I guess you don't want to put Yorion into hand means we could potentially have Solitude.
Yeah. Let me think. Yeah, we're anything we're doing is bluffing right here, which is definitely not my strong suit. Mostly I wanted to play the Vile because it's going to get us a lot of value if this game goes longer. We can potentially use Flicker Wisp to break up a combo. Which is why I didn't want to play it right now. I think I'd rather just keep the mana up for now. We're nowhere close to really using Yorion. I guess there's a chance we could like hard cast it as a big dude next turn, but yeah, that's to Sleepy's point. Like if we put Yorion into our hands, they know that at most they have to play around one Solitude.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Here I am happy to put Yorion in our hands and just keep two white mana up. All right. I felt like we were on borrowed time, but I guess they just drew the wrong cards.
Alrighty then. I wonder if they just had a bunch of like brainstorms or ponders in hand and just felt kind of off.
Yeah, I'm kind of guessing that's what happened. It's just who knows, you know. Okay, so boarding against breakfast is something I'm really not confident in. But this is what I have been doing. We're going to board in the 2 Council's Judgments, the Grafdigger's Cage, the Rest in Peace, and the 2 Surgicals.
Nice. It's always tough when they have like a kind of like Stoneforge plan as well with True Name post board.
Yeah, it's like definitely not as threatening against us as it is against other matchups, but like we still need to be wary of it. What I like to board out is the Batterskull. We don't need to stabilize against them basically ever. We do know they have Urza Saga, but we have other ways to deal with that I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, we do. Does the Marsh Flats make you think about black and like Baleful Strix?
They almost always have black in their deck at least to cast Cabal Therapy. I'm not as worried about Baleful Strix if they have it. Cool. The fact that they had Island, and Plains, and Saga makes me think it's very unlikely that they have very much black, if any.
Yeah. Nice.
And other cards I like to board out. I think I tend to board out Ephemerate in this matchup. I'm not sure if it's right. I'm trying to remember what I've done in the past. Actually, I board out Thalias because they're fundamentally a creature combo deck. They only need a little bit of extra mana to go off, and they will almost always know about it.
Yeah.
So I think I usually board out all the Thalias, and then I think I cut the 3rd Ephemerate, so I keep the 2nd one in.
Nice. Yeah, I really like that as well. Because sometimes the value of Ephemerate can really help when they do go for the value kind of mid-range plan.
Yeah, I think it's a lot better on a Skyclave than it is on a Solitude. Unfortunately, This hand ain't great.
Yeah, it doesn't really have too much of a plan. This is a bit better, especially if you bottom a Ephemerate.
Yeah, I like keeping this bottoming Ephemerate for sure. Maybe we will here be a Skyclaving or Ephemerating a Skyclave. We'll see.
Interesting. What do you think about Wasteland here?
I don't love Wasteland because it kind of puts us, if we're assuming that they have the combo, it puts us in the exact same spot next turn. There is a small chance that we draw like exactly Solitude and it looks a little bit different, but other than that, I don't think it looks very good for us here. So I would like to just play planes and hold up swords.
Nice. No attacks.
Interesting. No attacks and no follow-up. That's weird. That's not I didn't expect that. I think we should take our draw step.
Okay.
Mother of Runes.
Guess we could try to.
I think I would. Let me think. I'm tempted to play Mom here, but there's also an argument for just playing a Plains, and then we can have this Swords work through days that they do play some number of.
Yeah.
Mom is also just not super valuable in this matchup.
Yeah, and there's nothing really to protect over the next few turns. And it's nice we can go like Swords end step if they force it, then we have Skyclave to follow up with.
Yeah, yep.
Do you have any thoughts on the new fixed mental misstep?
Sorry, say that again.
There's a new card that got spoiled, which is a blue instant, and it counters target spell with CMC 1 or less.
Oh, yeah. I think that card is seems fine. It's definitely not broken. I'm not sure what decks it really goes in. I think it's. I can imagine it being good in like some control decks because it's a way to have like a pretty universal answer. Ooh, all right. They're going for it. Please don't have a force. They do have a force. Okay. I usually just F6 from here and get to see the rest of their deck.
Yeah. And there's nothing really not stock here that they have to worry about, so.
Anyway, I could see it in control decks as like a like universal answer for the turn one of most decks. One very specific use I've heard of that actually makes a lot of sense to me is in Delver specifically, against control, one of the main ways you lose is getting buried by the mana generated by Carpet of Flowers.
Interesting.
So if we assume that there comes a point where Delver has to really worry about that matchup again, then I could absolutely see a world where they are playing some number of that for Carpet of Flowers, and for any other. And obviously, there's a bunch of other, like, you use it on cantrips, Sword Splashers, Pyroblast, things like that. I think the reason it won't be broken is that you're literally never trading up on mana with it. It's always going to be at parity with mana or worse, so. Yeah, this list is looking pretty typical to me so far. There's like we see one Underground Sea there. That's probably for casting the Cabal Therapy from their hands. We do see an Aether Vial, which is not in every list. Although, I guess because of the Urza Saga, we can probably assume that they have some number of vials. How many Shuko do we see? I see one so far.
Yeah, just the one. I've seen some lists run up to 2.
Yeah, I know Maxtortion has been running a breakfast list that has no sagas, but has two. Doesn't even have any stone forges in it. Actually, it just has 2 Shukos. Oh, do they have the Thassa's Oracle in their hand then? How many cards are left in their deck? Interesting. I hate to do this. Can we count the? Can you expand their graveyard again? Let's see, like what are the blue sources that could possibly be left in their last 5 cards, basically. Um, they've milled 2 Underground Seas. I'm in the tank right now. Let me think. Oh, we could just Skyclave the Illusionist and mill them for 3. Yeah, I don't know why it took me that long to realize that, but yeah, we can actually just Skyclave the Illusionist, mill them for 3. They have to have Force, and they just used the Force last turn. They only have 2 cards in hand, and one of them's the Oracle, so that yep. It sounds like you're muted. I think you might be muted on my end now.
There we go. Apologies. Very nice. Very
there
nice.
we go. We did it.
I was just lost for words. I've never won a game like that, and that was sweet.
Yeah, I don't know why it took me so long to realize that, but yeah, Illusionist just triggers on everything that targets it. So.
Oh, we won the first game as well. We're on the board.
Yes, that was the one where we just had the
They
spirit
just
and they
conceded.
scooped to nothing.
Nice. Huzzah. There we go.
Yeah, that was actually a pretty much guaranteed win because these lists only play 1 Oracle, so even if they had a Force, they would have to pitch the Oracle to do it. So
Nice. I've
we
never
win
thought of that.
the Oracle being in their hands. That doesn't happen that often.
No, that reminds me a lot of this play, which I recently saw. This one from Frowning Table, where it's vintage and they're playing Oops, and the only out here is actually sacrificing their Undercity Informant to hit their opponent to see if they can mill them out, and they actually do it. They target them, and I think the last card is Flooded Strand, and they do it in upkeep, and then they go to draw step and they lose because they have no
Oh my god.
cards left, which is hilarious. I did not think that this like targeting your opponent would ever come up, but pretty funny.
I actually got targeted by an Oops player once, but I don't remember what it was for. It was for like a legit reason. It was like an extreme edge case, but it's happened to me at least once before.
Nice hand. Monkeys can't cry. I feel
Oh,
is
it's
a
Ethan. Okay. All right. Yep.
was it Ethan versus Ethan?
So we're gonna lose, but we're gonna do our best.
What is Ethan on?
He plays Doomsday.
Okay.
He plays pretty much exclusively Doom. There's a chance that he's playing Tainted Pact. He does also really love Tainted Pact combo, but for the most part, we can assume that he's playing Doomsday. Um,
Opponent goes to 6.
Yep, he is very good. I used to be local with him somewhat when I was like we share a hometown basically, and I remember playing against him a long time ago, back when Doomsday was really bad, and it was a lot more fun then. I'll tell you what. Dark Ritual Doomsday. Yeah, let's. Yep. Looks
These are
right
the
to
tough
me.
ones. Yeah. I mean, like, I've been done so many times where the pile is just 2 fetchable sources, 2 fetches, and Oracle. It's like, they just know that I can't beat this.
Yeah, we're gonna play the Thalia and assume that it does nothing and die, but we're gonna play it for sure. Oh, that makes this Thalia even worse. If we draw a Spirit of the Labyrinth, that would be a much better play, but we don't, so we won't do that. Oh wow, just rubbing it in, huh?
Boom. Hmm.
Well, there's not a whole lot to do here. I board in. This matchup is about as unwinnable as it gets, so we don't really try much. um, we will board in 2 Mind Break Traps, and we will board in 2 Surgical Extractions.
Nice. I assume the ephemerates are the cut here.
Are they? There's a chance that Ephemerate will do something dumb, so I would like to keep them in and cut the cards that definitely will do basically nothing, which is Jite and Batterskull.
Okay.
And what's the last card I want to cut here? I think I honestly want to just cut a Caracas. You don't really need that many lands. These games end very fast, so
Yeah. One more stash.
oh, one more cut. One more cut should be. I like keeping Sash because it can be a potentially fast clock. It's going to often be a faster clock than just casting random creatures in our hands. So, I think I would like to cut a mother. No, not a mother runes. Cut a Skyclave.
Okay. Okay. I mean, like, Spirit and Trap.
Yeah, I mean, Spirit and Trap are the 2 best cards we have against them. So, and neither of them are very good, but they're the best ones we have.
Yeah. Especially the ritual starts are so hard.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Nice. I think, like, probably the best hit for Mind Break Trap is something like Pedal into Ritual into Doomsday.
Yep. That is usually what we hope for, or for them to go for a Doomsday pile that they try to draw into right away. I would actually like to play the port here first.
Yeah, because then we might run to like Wasteland and then get the double.
Yes, exactly. There's a lot you can potentially. I don't think I've ever actually won this way, but in my heart, there's a lot you can do to like make their piles awkward by taking away their mana sources. It makes them have to put more lands into the pile, which could matter.
Ugh.
Oh, that's really gross.
Look, at least it's one more spell for the stack.
That's true. That is true.
The small wins.
And hopefully this is like brainstorming into. Never mind, it's not.
Do you think Ethan plays around Trap in some way?
I think it's very likely that he will, because I think we cash it in here for sure. It's very likely he will because the cost to do so against DNT is so low.
Hmm.
I just want to play Flicker Wisp here as a 3-power attacker.
Nice. I mean, it's a full turn clock.
Yeah. If it casts the Doomsday, then it's a 2-turn clock. It's unlikely that'll matter, but you know. It does mean that he either has to draw into the Doomsday pile right away, or his pile can't really have more than one Street Wraith in it.
Yeah, and I assumed that the tutor was going to get Doomsday, which most likely means they don't already have a Doomsday in hand.
Yeah, I'm guessing that's the case too.
Snuff Out really strong. Snuff Out seeing a lot more play over the past 2 years than probably some of the previous amount of years. I guess like when Death Shadow came onto the scene, it was kind of a pretty cool removal spell, but now you're seeing things like Elves, obviously Delver picking up like the one Underground Sea builds with Snuff Out.
Yeah, like really, who would have guessed that Underground Sea would be one of the best removal spells in 2023? Because that is not on my bingo card. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, yeah. Or cards like Unchained Berserker or Blood Knight. Oh yeah, Blood Knight coming back into the mix. Or
yeah.
the what is the white card? The 1/1? Empty Shrine.
Empty Shrine Kanushi. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am sure like 0.05% of Legacy players probably knew that card existed before now.
I didn't.
I know I sure didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Give me a white card I can't target with my own Mother Runes, please.
Right.
Look, I always like to look at the graveyard, but usually it's a little bit too hard for me to pull out what really is missing.
The only thing I look for is mana sources. So I'm curious what lands are in this. What lands are in exile? The non fetches.
Like Wasteland here, pretty good pickup. Another Port, pretty good pickup. Emirate.
Yep.
That's interesting. That allows us to take out an Underground Sea as well in our end step.
Yeah, well, we're gonna do that. Let's attack him.
Ephemerate potentially coming up clutch here. I guess
here's one of those dumb things that we can do with Ephemerate.
Yeah. Could they have another Snuff Out to just keep off?
No. Now that they're at 3 life, thankfully, no, they cannot. So we want to Ephemerate. Actually, we want to Ephemerate in our main. This works. Yeah, never mind.
Okay.
And now we can port another, and we hope that that's enough to keep us alive this turn. Do we see LED in their exile? Yes. Okay. Yep, that'll happen when you go for plays like this. It means that they usually know that they can go for a not perfect Oracle and still win.
Yeah, maybe like I guess we could have also held up swords.
I think that's probably worse than giving them the mana, because the mana probably means that their Oracle is just going to be perfect.
Yeah.
Not a guarantee, obviously, but it's definitely more likely when they have that extra mana. Honestly, I'm surprised. You don't usually get that close to wins against Doomsday, honestly. So
Look, Ephemerate looked clutch, so I'm still pretty happy.
there we go.
But yeah, at least a good mix of matchups tonight. Blue, Black, Shadow, Blue Red Delver, Doomsday, and Cephalid.
Yeah, it sucks to lose the Delver and Death Shadow matches, but at least they were close.
Yeah.
And True Name. I mean, True Name is True Name, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's always tough. Yeah, I think Initiative in the last round will kind of round out what the metagame is kind of like right now. Bit of combo, bit of Initiative. Or Elves.
Yeah, I would like to play against Initiative, or Elves would be fine as well. That's another one. It's a matchup that I know a lot of D&T players are still really afraid of. I think it's a lot better than people think it is. I'm not saying it's good, but people still talk about it like in the same breath as Doomsday, and I think that's definitely wrong. I am perfectly happy with this hand. Yeah, it is tough, but it is definitely winnable.
There we go. Probably pretty happy here just to throw one of the spirits out.
Yeah, for sure. Unfortunately, Scalding Tarn, fetching Basic Island, and casting Ponder tells us basically nothing about specifically what deck they are, but we will see soon.
Oh, I did not expect that. This must be a prismatic ending. Okay.
Yep. Okay. Sure. I'm happy to cast the second spirit.
Yeah.
One pretty common play pattern, particularly against the control decks, is Stoneforge is basically, if you can make it the last card in your hand that you cast, you pretty much do. Get as many answers out of their hand as you can, because if the Stoneforge untaps, the game is often just over.
I just hope this isn't a Murktide. Okay. Oh, Standstill.
Interesting. Okay. That doesn't really change anything. It just makes this Stoneforge feel a little awkward. So my strategy against Standstill is don't be afraid to just break every Standstill. a lot of their deck is just air. They still need to present answers for your threats. They do not turn the corner quickly at all. So I just aggressively break the standstills and usually win the game anyway.
Nice. What would you typically fetch up in this case with Stoneforge? Okay, it doesn't matter. But if it was to resolve,
yeah, if it was resolving, I would probably get Batterskull. I would normally get Cauldra for sure. But since they had just drawn 3 off of the once they've drawn 3 off the standstill, I'm more inclined to get something that I know I can cast. And Batterskull is not an amazing threat, but it's a reusable threat.
I can see now why they wanted to get the spirits off the battlefield. Not just for being a blue deck,
Yep.
but at least if they Teferi here, then we have the Skyclave for it.
Yep. If they Teferi, we'll certainly Skyclave. Otherwise, we're just gonna chill, put Yorion in our hands, and port them again. Yeah, one thing to note is that it is true that they don't turn the corner very fast. Right? Like, it takes them a long time to get to the point where they're doing anything scary. As soon as like a hard cast Shark Typhoon hits the board, they can kill us in like 2 turns. But until that point, we can play pretty slowly. They're just gonna like do this, make 1/1 Shark tokens over and over again. Is this a third or is this a Wandering Emperor? Okay.
That's more than fine.
Is did they pitched a Shark Typhoon to that Force of Will earlier, right?
Correct.
So they only have 1 left in their deck. That's actually pretty important.
Do you think they're also a Saga deck? Or just
They
blue-white?
usually are not, because they just play. They basically play almost all basics. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the only Tundra in their deck. At least from my experience playing Standstill against like the very heavy Shark Typhoon builds. Oh, sorry. 1 non-basic we have to be aware of is Hall of Heliod's Generosity. That's how they loop Shark Typhoons sometimes.
That's right. Pretty cool tech. I don't see too much Standstill online, but I do have a local player who loves to play it.
Yeah, I only even have this like in my head because I played against it. I played against it in my stream last week. So
nice. What do you think about Yorion Hold Up Caracas?
How big is the bigger shark? Is it a 2/2?
2/2.
I think I am inclined to just play planes and pass again.
Okay.
I would really like to make sure that this Yorion is threatening to do something other than be a blocker.
Okay.
Obviously, we can't wait forever, but I would like to wait at least a turn or 2 to see if we can do something more impressive.
Cool. Do they use it? Nothing.
Okay.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah, I am certainly happy to cast that. With 4 mana up, I'm guessing they're about to cast a Wandering Emperor, which definitely starts to put the pressure on us a bit more. No, it's just cycling the 4th Typhoon. Okay.
Yeah. which is still 5 a turn.
Yeah, so we're probably going to cast the Yorion this upcoming turn. We'll have Karakas in play with all of our other lands too, so. That one's not summoning sick, right? I'm curious why I didn't attack with it.
Yeah.
Weird.
I guess we're now at the stage where we can... we could cast Yorion and also hold up a Ganjo.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
So that's 1, 2, 3, 4.
We aren't really gaining a lot out of porting them. It's just we're going to do it when we're not doing anything else. Counterspell. Last time I played, they had exactly 1 counterspell, so we probably don't have to worry about that again. But
cool.
Big to fairy. Okay, I did not see that before. This is where that I get upset about Skyclave only hitting things CMC 4 or less.
Yeah.
All right, so that might just do us in. We'll have to see what happens. How many cards are they on right now?
They're on 5 cards in hand.
Gross. That plateau is good to know about. It probably just means they have like red blasts that they can board into, but probably not a lot else.
Yeah, I wonder if they play like Ruination in the board.
Maybe. I feel like they probably can't because they rely on a non-basic in a lot of the long games, but
is Skyclave just going on board?
Yeah, I would like to Skyclave and hold up swords on the 2/2 shark. For real though, Skyclave already has like a scaling punishment based on the CMC of the thing you exile. Skyclave should be able to exile an Emrakul, honestly. Just give them a 15/15.
Yeah. I like that. My bad, I should have ported.
Yeah, that's no worries. I don't think our chances of winning this game are very high, so I am much more interested in burning as much of their clock as possible.
Cool.
It ends up being a pretty legit way to win the game. So we can hit their Teferi on the way back down. And a Narset. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I guess with the 1 mana left over, the port and upkeep wouldn't have done too much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'd like to Skyclave the Teferi and then Wisp the Shark token.
Nice.
I guess the Teferi we can target.
Second counterspell.
Okay, another counterspell.
I guess he would just tap down the plateau because it could be a... Okay. I was going to say, like, the 3rd color for Prismatic Ending on the Skyclave. I think still.
Yeah, so it's good to know that they are playing a lot of planeswalkers, it means that we're going to be a bit more pressured to have a bigger board presence.
Which is tough against the deck that most likely plays like at least one copy of Supreme Verdict or Terminus in the 75. Probably more
Yeah.
so.
Oh boy, the last one I played against had 3 copies of Verdict, I think. This currency converter is interesting though. It gives more evidence that they could be on Saga.
Yeah.
And there's Hall of Heliod's Generosity.
Probably should have fielded the Hall before to go to untap with it, but that's on me.
Yeah, it's not a big deal either way, but
Knock knock chess clock. But yeah, currency converter is a very cool card. I know Ali was playing around with it in lands for a while.
yeah, it seems like it seems a little mopey to me. You obviously can get a lot of value on it. It's just like I would say this format that we're playing in right now is one where getting a lot of value is likely to just let you get buried. But yeah, there's no realistic way to win this game, especially now that they're about to ult the big Teferi. So again, we're just bleeding a little bit of clock. We don't really have many specific tools for this matchup, obviously, but I think what we do have is pretty good, and it's a much easier game to play once you like know what you're playing against. Oh, another brainstorm, huh?
I really hope we beat them on clock now. That's kind of going to be my aim for this. It's taking to a third.
It happens quite a bit, honestly. Against like pretty much any control matchup, but against DNT they tend to go so long because of how you're in it for so long that like they don't get to really make any actions for free for a very long time. And then on top of that, it takes ages for them to actually win the game.
There is one Supreme Verdict as well.
Okay, yep, good to know. And Volcanic Islands. So either they have red cards main or their splash might be might be a bigger splash than I'm thinking. I don't think there will be any red cards for us really, but we'll see. Yeah, I know a lot of people have like varying opinions on like the legitimacy of like winning via the chess clock. My standing is that I played against top miracles for 6 years, so I'll take what I can get.
Judgment seemed like an easy one.
Yes, absolutely. The only other card I'm really interested in is Surgical. The reason I like Surgical is because they are so
light on threats.
They're so light on threats. Like Surgicaling Shark Typhoon is actually like a huge deal. It means they don't really have a clear way to win the game other than their planeswalkers, which is something that we can just like we get to the right point in the game, we can just judgment it, and then they don't have that. And I think that's all that I boarded in last time I played against them. And then what I boarded out was I boarded out Jite, because they have very few creatures. What they do have are usually Shark Typhoon tokens that we can deal with through other ways.
Yeah.
I boarded out 2 of the Swords to Plowshares. I didn't board out all of them, because sometimes it can be helpful for getting through the 1 or 2 shark tokens that they make. I think I'm actually happy boarding out 3 Swords to Plowshares and just sticking with the 1 left.
Yeah, cool. Especially seeing things like Flicker Wisps, and I guess Flicker Wisp mainly is a great way to deal with their tokens.
Yep.
Nice.
I'm perfectly happy with this hand.
Yeah. Pretty happy just to draw lands off top as well.
Yep, for sure. Like that one.
Still pretty happy just to force Spirit in here.
Yeah, absolutely. I was hoping they wouldn't do that, but of course they did. Let me think about this. How many? They're on 5 cards in hand.
Correct. So they go up to 9 in their turn.
Yeah. I think I just want to cast Spirit again.
Yeah. At least having Ephemerate here is pretty nice. To save it potentially from like a prismatic ending.
I don't think I'm likely to Ephemerate this. I'm much more interested in using Ephemerate on our Recruiter.
Okay. Look at a discard. Huh.
Interesting.
It has to be counter magic. Can't think of like a flash creature that would have outside of. Okay, Timeless Dragon's fine. The Wisp take care of that token, which is nice.
Yeah. I think I want to just start with the attack. If they have something for it, let them have it.
Yeah. Because at least if they have like a Shark Typhoon here, then we can just surgical it.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Otherwise, we get to play Jano, play Recruiter, hold up Ephemerate.
Yep, exactly.
And then at least if they
actually,
have like
let me think about that. I'm just thinking about if they're holding up Counterspell, is there a way that we can get around it? Is kind of what I'm thinking.
I think the only way potentially right now is look at surgicaling the Timeless Dragon to see what the hand is.
Yeah, and I don't think I want to do that. So, yeah, I think we just play the Recruiter. If they have Counterspell, they have Counterspell. Clearly, their hand is lacking something, or they wouldn't have gone to discard in the face of this Spirit of Labyrinth.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. This is now. I didn't expect us to be here. And if it resolves, perfect. I'm happy to just leave it in play, and we'll use this Ephemerate as soon as we need to. In this matchup, I just want to get Stoneforge every time.
Okay, cool. This makes me think they have a Verdict. Like they're just untapping and wanting to Verdict straight away.
That's possible.
Wow. No Timeless Dragon either? Huh.
Weird. Yeah, I just want to play Plains. Interesting. Yeah, I just want to play planes and attack and just sit on this board for a while. This could be um it could be Wandering Emperor, in which
Hmm.
case we're probably going to ephemerate something. And if it's not, then I think I want to just put Yorion in our hand and chill on this for a bit. Because they
Yeah, I
have to
like that
deal
a
with
lot.
this board. And I think our goal right now is just to make sure that we have the right resources to redeploy in the face of like a Supreme Verdict or something like that.
Hmm. If they try to like sword spirit here, I assume it's because they want to like brainstorm. Is there any thought of
Mm-hmm.
ephemerating in response to the sword to keep the spirit alive?
I don't think so. I have to think about that a bit more. I'm leaning towards no, though,
Cool.
because I think there's just more value to be gotten out of it.
Pretty happy to surgicalist now with this. Maybe only
I
allow
just
them
want to
to
wait till
draw.
their draw step.
Okay. Make sure they have yeah, cool. 2 extra chances to draw into 1.
Yep.
Counterspell. Alright. They allow it. Huh.
Cool.
There's 2 verdicts. Okay. And they do have the counterspell. Just quickly have a look. I might even just quickly snip this, then we can keep an eye on things. 2, 3. That's all foregone.
So,
To win the game, they
ways
have a Timeless Dragon, Wandering Emperor. That is it.
and Big Teferi.
Okay, and Big Teferi.
Cool. I'm glad we know that. Um, I have to imagine they're gonna verdict here, but I guess we'll see.
2, 4, 6, 7. Cool. So there's 1 verdict.
They just eternalize. Okay. They have a Swords to Plowshares, right? Yeah.
Sorry, yeah. Actually, I thought you could control Z. We know the other card is Supreme Verdict.
Yeah, it was like a different card of Supreme Verdict, right? Yeah.
Pretty aggressive attack here as well. Because now we just get to Flicker Wisp the token.
Yeah, I'm thinking about whether we want to with the Supreme Verdict here. It kind of depends what we draw.
Mm.
Let me think about this. So if we wisp the token, I think it's pretty likely that they're going to verdict on their turn.
Mm.
We can ephemerate something to at least get like a little bit. Oh, actually, you know what I want to do? Oh wow, this is actually pretty sick. So what we can do is play Wisp, um, flicker the dragon,
Mm-hmm.
attack
Before.
on our turn or on their turn. We can port them off of one of their white sources.
Mm-hmm.
And then they will have to use both of their white sources in play to Supreme Verdict. We can
Mm-hmm.
ephemerate Wisp in response to the verdict. It will probably get Force of Willed, which will take out their other verdict or a counterspell. And if the ephemerate resolves, Wisp just hits the Recruiter, and then we get Recruiter at the end of their turn and Recruiter trigger at the beginning of our next turn.
Nice. Very cool.
And if we don't get that, their hand is empty and they have no answer for this Stoneforge that's coming down.
Well, they allow the Wisp. Nice.
Okay, yeah. So I think what might happen is they might end up forcing the Ephemerate on this next turn, but we'll see. It'll be better if they like use the swords now, but I guess yeah, never mind. That won't matter. Yep. So I am happy to port that Tundra.
I assume here we see a sword. Maybe not. Maybe that is float. Nice. Draw step. I guess now we try.
No, we're waiting
we
for them
could
to
just
cast
wait.
it.
Yeah, that's very true. There's the island, which I assume is this one. There's the verdict, which I've already taken out.
Yep.
So they have 6 cards
So
left,
now
one unknown.
I want to Ephemerate our Wisp.
Oh.
They let it resolve, so now we Wisp our Recruiter.
It's just such good value that it's tough to not.
I am surprised they did not force that. Yeah,
counter that, especially once that's in play. Like, what are you keeping the counter magic for? The ponder was a shuffle, so they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 5 and 1 unknown.
Okay, cool. This Recruiter comes back. I just want to get another Stoneforge.
Nice.
And now I would like to Ephemerate our Recruiter and get another Stoneforge. We're just gonna make sure this Cauldron gets into play because they can't really beat it once it is. They're at 6 already, so.
Oh.
Okay, Cauldron. Cauldron heard the call. Yeah, so we're happy to cast 1 Stoneforge. Get a Batterskull, I guess.
And that's probably it. Just because of
Yep,
the second.
Yep, since we know they have another verdict, we just want the 1 in play because it demands an answer as is.
Okay. Also, being up on time here is so nice. Like a full 4 minutes is pretty sweet.
Yeah, for sure.
So I assume they're going to be holding up Counterspell here still.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I probably don't want to throw the Batterskull down. We probably just want to play both Stoneforges again.
Ooh, that Wasteland might be nice.
Hmm.
I want to waste that Volcanic Islands and then
Nice.
cast the first Stoneforge in our
Second main.
second main, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit punished there for using these basics. That's a Supreme Verdict.
Yep.
Do they tend to play something like Mystic Sanctuary?
I haven't seen it out of these lists yet, just because they are pretty heavy on the basic planes. So it's hard for them to have the islands in play sometimes.
Yeah. I guess Sash is kind of cool here. I guess we have to.
Yeah. I don't think we play it, but yeah, I don't want to play it. We'll just pass Tap Tundra again.
Oh, I just voted a mana. My bad. Luckily, it doesn't
That's
matter
lucky.
here. I think just because of Ruination, I'm happy to tap down the red here.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
There's no other card that I'm too scared of. I guess we didn't actually. I don't think we actually saw it anyway.
Oh, sure, right, because we did see their deck. I don't think we saw any red cards, right?
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
I don't mind baiting with this Thalia first.
Yeah, I'm happy to cast Thalia and then Stoneforge. I don't think the Thalia is gonna eat anything, but we can see. Yeah, cool.
Kind of nice that like the Stoneforge is really just a vehicle at the moment. It's not really there's no tutors left in the deck, so.
Yep. Yeah, getting countered is honestly not at all bad.
Do you think porting here is more important than holding up Caracas?
I think holding up Caracas is more important because they don't have a way to put just a body in play, really. That's going to block it. They need to use an actual removal spell, and they're at 5, so they can't really leave it in play very long.
Okay. Nice. So we have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. So we can cast Batterskull, hold up Caracas. Could cast a Sash.
Yeah, I think I want to attack with Thalia and then cast Skull holding up Caracas.
If they try to Swords here, I'm pretty happy to save it.
Yeah, for sure.
Nice. It's nice that like 2 mana for Swords doesn't turn on Force of Will either. I guess they could just hardcast Force of Will. But
yeah, I think we're happy to have the Force trading for this Batterskull as opposed to maybe any of your cards. I guess maybe we would rather have the Sash get forced than the Batterskull, but it's not being used on the Cauldron, and that's the part that really matters.
Prismatic Ending.
Yep, saw that coming.
Well, they're going to try to double remove? That's a pretty big win for us.
Deal, yeah.
Because now we just have Cauldron next turn.
Yeah, and they should know that. Actually, they don't know we have it. We never actually revealed the Cauldron.
Exactly, that's the best part.
So they need to have Force here.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah,
make them have it. This game is basically over. Either they're gonna die or they're gonna. Okay, they have a counterspell. Fine. We still have a lot of ways to get this last 3 damage in, but I am sad that happened regardless. It's gonna be big to Fairy. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think I want to start with the Recruiter. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how to tap the mana here, but yeah, that should be fine. And I think here I want to get... So the last Stoneforge is no longer good.
correct.
I'm tempted to get a Flicker Wisp as a 3-power attacker.
Yeah, nice.
I don't know if we're going to use it right now, because I think I want to just lure in the
Converter with
the
Krakus open.
converter with Krakus up. Yeah, exactly.
Nice. They could bounce the Recruiter. They can't really bounce the Lauren because, I mean, we can just bounce it in response to, like, stifle that kind of ability.
Yeah.
Take it up.
I'm guessing they're just going to +1 for the rest of the game, but we'll see. Until they ult, at least.
Okay. They go after Recruiter. Oh, is there a way where Sash equip is lethal?
That is pretty likely, yeah. Yeah, let's see. They have one. So let's pause in our upkeep. Actually, pause in our draw step, I should say. Oh, they didn't untap a white source too. Yeah. Okay. So if we tap the planes, we only need 5 mana to make the Sash lethal, and we have that. We can do that with Karakas up now that we drew this planes. So
Nice.
yeah, let's port that white source.
Sorry. I just passed.
I think we still go for it.
It's only 2.
Yep, only 2. So this isn't horrible even if they do have a removal spell, because the Sash getting bigger will make it a threat that they have to deal with. Yep, okay, so we'll eat something out of their yard. Probably just a land. All right. They're confident in that +1.
Okay, at least the Teferi isn't a win con, correct?
It is, because if they exile all of everything that's in play, as long as they still have the Teferi in play, they can just deck us, because they'll exile one of our permanents every turn, and then Teferi can tuck itself into their deck.
Okay, what about with 4 minutes on the clock?
Much less likely.
Okay, cool. So I think he was going to put 2-3 power threats on board. One that can be obviously hit with Lorn.
Yep.
Or one that can be Krakus, sorry. But I probably don't mind tapping down 2, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we draw a land off the top. We have 6 mana for these 2. We can use the port and also hold up Caracas. I guess they have double white, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I think we're just going to our draw step.
Oh,
that's big.
yeah. I guess we lead with.
Yeah, you can't really bluff here. We're still in our draw step, by the way.
Sorry, yeah.
I would maybe lead with Wisp, I guess. there's a chance that they'll use something on it.
Yeah, I guess if we, yeah, my only thought is if they do want to actually, are we scared about the ulti? That's the big question. Because if
Yes, we
not,
are.
then okay, we are. Because I guess Flicker Wisp is kind of the backup to if the judgment doesn't resolve, we can flicker the Teferi to buy
Yeah.
time. But if we
Yeah. So I
Flicker
think what I
Wisp,
want to do is port an island here so we can cut them off of Hardcast Force. Go to our main two. We'll start with the judgment, and then start with the judgment, and then if the judgment gets forced, then we will probably try to wisp it next turn.
they have Watering Emperor. No, they didn't have one, so that's all good.
I think they had one in their deck.
Okay.
But
I probably still like just putting Wisp in play here because it is lethal next turn.
Let me think. Yeah, I think we do. I think we do that, and I'm probably just flickering a plains, but I don't know which one. Or flickering a land. What are they doing?
I think it's trying to cast Emperor, but not really thinking about like when to do stuff. Like
Yeah,
we don't want to
okay.
obviously flicker it because then they get 2 creatures out of it.
Right. So I think we just flicker. How many cards do they have in hand? They have 4 cards in hand.
4 cards,
I think I'm
7
inclined to
left.
waste the plateau, maybe. Actually, no. I want to hit the Tundra instead,
Cool.
because that'll make it easier to keep them off of this Hardcast Force. And we're not cutting them off of red either way. So if they have a prismatic ending, they can get the Flicker Wisp either way. Of course, they play another island.
I don't mind Mum. Oh, draw step. Sorry, I'm just going to take this up as well.
I am happy to cast Mom and Yorion.
Yeah.
Yorion holding up Krakus.
And now at least if they try to bounce it with Teferi, we have Caracas, so they don't draw a card off it.
Yep. And they, again, like they're at under 3 minutes. Like, worth noting, we're down a game, but like we definitely have to keep the clock pressure on them. But I feel in a pretty good position, all told, because
Is this game 2?
this is game 2. Yep.
Wow. I totally forgot which game it was.
Yeah. Yeah, so we definitely can't dawdle. We gotta get this over with, but thankfully one of the ways to get it over with is just to, if we can keep this game going without them winning, then I'm happy to just recast Yorion here.
And then probably just holding up the Caracas, not playing the Lorwyn.
Yeah, for sure.
I think in that case I should have held up the port. That's on me.
Yeah, I don't think it matters a ton, just given how much mana they have in play. It is technically correct. I don't think it will be impactful, though.
Wow.
Supreme Verdicts. All right, we can bounce. That's so good for us.
Yeah. Like their way of winning is these two creatures, right?
Right, exactly.
I was waiting for like the whole priority Boros charm for indestructibility, but didn't see it.
Yeah, right? Solitude? Solitude? We haven't done any removal, so Recruiter, Solitude, Recruiter into Solitude would be good. Another Mom could be worse. I mean, we're still presenting lethal with the Yorion, so. They're finally F6ing. Can you just quickly check, do they have any swords or prismatic endings left in their deck?
So we have 1 sword, 2 sword, 3 sword, 4 sword. They have prismatic ending 1, 2, 3, 4. No.
Okay, they have no targeted removal left, so, and we know they only have one Wandering Emperor. So if they do not have another Verdict right now, they die.
I guess they can bounce. Oh, my bad. Sorry, I was supposed to crack that. Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot that. I thought that the fairy was only on 2 counters, so that's my bad. Definitely keeping Mom in play, because Mom plus
Yeah.
Yorion is it is guaranteed lethal, basically, based on what we know in their deck. Another Teferi. All right, that's a bummer. Solitude. Solitude, Swords, Field of Ruin. So I think now we have to play Yorion and Mom and Lauren. Just play all 3.
Imagine if we could Lorwyn them to draw a card and like, oh, steal the game that way.
Don't.
Yeah, keep up the white. Yep, all good. Apologies. There's nothing to hit.
Nope. Yep, so we have to do this because Emperor +1ing on the dragon means that the Yorion is forced to chump block. But we still need another attacker, and the Lauren should be that. Unless they have like another Teferi or something. And this is the 3rd, I think. It might be, maybe it's only the 2nd. I don't remember.
Oh my gosh.
There we go.
Wow.
Yep.
Huge. So good. And like in that game 1, they did like fiddle around a bit with the Teferi dealing with all the lands. Oh wow, there's a okay. Yeah, okay. There we go. Nice. So that is a 2-3 finish?
Yes.
Yeah. Which to be fair, some of those Delver matches were pretty pretty close.
Yeah, they were good games. I mean, True Name, I mean, there's just not a whole lot that we have against True Name. It's not as popular than the pro white creatures, so my deck isn't as tuned to beat those. And the Death Shadow matches were pretty close, and against an incredibly well-known and talented
Delver player.
tempo player.
Yeah.
And then we also played against a well-known and talented Doomsday player, our worst matchup that Death and Taxes has ever had. So, all things told, I'm pretty happy with the result.
Yeah. But yeah, it was really good to just be able to play some D&T again, because I haven't played it in a little while. I know you've been playing around with Seasoned Dungeoneer. How have you been finding that sort of build?
I really like the card. It does. It is really good in some matchups that D&T is not as good in. Like I found it was kind of nice. Like I think the very first league that I played with Seasoned Dungeoneer, I queued into lands, which is not a nightmare matchup, but it's definitely got like a lot worse in like recently. And what's nice against them is as long as you can keep saga tokens in check, you just put the initiative in play and you kind of just win the game. So that was nice. And I just found that it was. I think that if there is an initiative card that belongs in TNT, it is definitely Seasoned Dungeoneer. I tried White Plume Adventure, and the thing that I found is that White Plume is good because it costs 3 mana and has the initiative, not because the rest of the text on the card matters at all. And I really like that Seasoned Dungeoneer is really good at fighting over the initiative, because that's something that can be difficult to do, because D&T kind of by design has a lot of smaller creatures other than a very select few exceptions. And Seasoned Dungeoneer getting pro creatures and also being big itself means that you have a much better chance of fighting over the initiative in the instances where you lose it.
Yeah, it's a great point. I was going to ask why you would play Seasoned Dungeoneer over White Plume, and that was the perfect response.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, I tried a list with 4 White Plumes and 2 Ancient Tombs to try to turbo them out, and I didn't really like that direction. And once you aren't casting White Plume fast, that's when I think Seasoned Engineer gets better for basically all of the reasons that I just mentioned.
Yeah. It's pretty nice, and I didn't pick up on Explore until I played it for the first time, and I was like, wow, this actually does more than just like the initiative part, which is pretty crazy. And then also, of course, the pro creature part.
Yeah, it's there was a game, I think I was playing a little bit of initiative myself, and it's nice. First of all, it's nice once you realize that like the right side of the dungeon is very good, because it just means that you hold the initiative for longer. And it was nice that I got to like set the second room on the right is the Scry 2, and I got to like set up the top of my deck such that my Explore like got rid of a card that I definitely didn't, or sorry, it was put a land on top, so I just draw it. And get to the second card that I know that I definitely want. It was really cool.
Yeah, that's sweet. I'm gonna post in chat your Twitter and your Patreon. Did you want to shout out anything else for where people can find you?
No, that's pretty much it. I also stream on Twitch. I stream 1 night a week currently. I stream Thursdays starting at 8 Eastern. You can also find that linked from my Twitter. I don't know if it's mentioned on my Patreon or not, but
nice.
And my Patreon. Just to be clear, I don't really release content on any cadence yet. I just kind of wanted it to be a place that I can put all the stuff that I decide to write. The one thing that's there right now is a matchup primer for a D&T against 4-color control, the Uro Minsk control deck. I'm currently working on ones for both initiative and for elves. I'm hoping to get those done relatively soon. My thought is either I need to finish the initiative matchup guide now, because obviously the deck will get banned right after, or I just need to like wait on it and like farm some tickets with initiative and then release it. We'll see.
Nice. A huge thank you for coming on. I've been a big fan of your channel for a long time, so it's very cool to come on for a co-stream, and of course play D&T, which is really nice. But that's going to be it for us. A huge thank you to you guys for coming and watching. I believe the Legacy Pit is playing some Legacy, so I'm going to send you guys over there. But yeah, Evan, a huge thank you once again. It was a pleasure having you on. And yeah, hopefully do something again in the near future.
I would love to. It's a pleasure to be on here, and I really appreciate you inviting me.
You are more than welcome. All right, guys, enjoy your weekends. The raid, of course, did not. Classic. Yeah, we'll catch you next time. Cheers.